Grab your scraps and let's sew the Stash Buster block together. Stay tuned.
Good morning, gifted crafters. It's crafting time.
Me and my friends are having a great time. It's not face to face, it's all online. We're all in our homes, miles away. Love them like my family, what can I say? My crafting show is on, it's my time for me. Laughter, tips and tricks, this is what I need. We're here to have fun, we're all in the zone. When crafting with friends, you'll never...
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Good morning, Gifted Crafters, and welcome back to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. Good morning out there. Today is Tuesday, another fun day for the craft room today. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful morning so far. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Nancy with Gifts HQ, and on this channel, we just do just about everything crafty, and we have a lot of giggles while we do it. So let's see who we have with us this morning. Let's see who we have out there. Let's see if we can take it to the top. Let's see who we have. All righty, we've got Lori from Chile, Virginia. Oh my goodness. Yeah, pretty cold. Yeah, definitely cold, but not as cold, you know, as so many places all around the world. And let's see, we've got Bettina Fink. We've got our friends from Canada. Good morning to you. We've got Cindy Ball. Good morning. Oh, Manatee sightseeing yesterday. Oh, nice. Yeah, never a disappointment there. That's awesome. Stu Galvin, good morning from Illinois. We've got Deborah. Good morning from Albuquerque. I can never say the word. We've got Jackie Hallman. Good morning. We've got Terry. Good morning to you from Ohio. Very cold Ohio. We've got Belinda. Good morning from Chicago, Illinois. We've got Robin's Quote Basket. Good morning to you. Let's see. We've got Deborah. Cindy, Deborah, Faker McFake, good morning to you. We've got Kyle, good morning to you as well. JBL, good morning. Jenny Owens, good morning. Lisa Lilly, good morning to you from Richmond, Illinois. Melinda, good morning. Melissa Hutchkins from East Texas, good morning. We've got Georgette from Tennessee. Let's see here. Cheryl. Oh, Nancy's music gets me up and dancing. Well, that's really great because, you know, that's our little exercise in the morning. We got to get up and dance, right? Why not? That's amazing. Awesome. I love that. Okay, let's see. Linda M, good morning. Kathy, good morning from Oregon. Heather, good morning to you. We've got Joyce and so many others, guys. Thank you all so much for all of your support. I truly appreciate it. And I love having you with me every morning to just kind of, you know, do our little crafts and just have some fun in the morning. Let's get it going, right? Shall we? All right, so of course, if you're new, I always start off all of my sessions with a little bit of a toast. So let's go ahead and grab our little cups of whatever it is you have in the morning. It really doesn't matter. Anything that makes your heart happy. And I guess since some of them out there have a little bit of that cold weather out there, we're just gonna toast to some warmer weather and hoping that you guys have a fantastic day. Let's go ahead and pour them a cup because some of them may not have any. There we go. Something nice and warm to keep you nice and cozy. Go ahead and raise your glasses nice and high and give yourself a little swivel, everyone. Cheers. Awesome. Oh, love it. Okay, so I am tuning in from Miami, Florida. And let's see, today it is, let's see, the weather outside. Well, it's about 55 degrees right about now. And it's probably going to warm up too. So high, oh, there it goes. High of 74 today, low 54. Oh boy. Okay, yeah, it's not as cold as over there, but this is kind of our nice weather over here. So if you're ever coming down to Florida, this would be the time to do it. All right. So, guys, one thing that I wanted to kind of bring up, besides hoping that you guys have lots of warmth and sunshine, is we did drop a video out yesterday for the members. It's all about Brilliance, and it's just a starting of a series that I'll be doing of just, you know, Brilliance and just kind of helping everyone through the software. So hope you guys enjoy that. That's going to be for members who are going to get it first. We'll roll it out eventually to the public, but members get first staff at it. And it's going to be all about Brilliance, the overview, and then we're going to kind of take it down into pieces and break it down for you. So I don't know. I mean, if you're not a member now and you want to get the content right away, or sometimes, you know, the content will just stay for the members, I'll encourage you to join the membership. We do a lot with members in terms of communication and different things. So I really would love for us to have more members and hope that you guys support the channel because it's really a lot of fun. And we're getting really more and more into some of the recordings and some of the things that I'll be rolling out for members. So I hope there is so much more to come. Oh, Jenny says you loved it. Oh, awesome. Okay, awesome. Great. Yay. Yeah, it's a little bit different of our normal style, and we wanted to kind of twist things up. And I want to really break down the software. So I'm going to be doing these in bite-sized pieces so that everyone can kind of understand and follow along as they're doing things in Brilliance. So probably going to do the same thing with EQ8. So if that's another software that you're interested in, then we will definitely be breaking it down into pieces, bite-sized, learnable little pieces so that everyone can understand and do things. And we can get some more activity on that side as well. Now, and eventually we're going to get a lot more advanced. So I wanted to start off with the basics and just kind of roll it up so that anyone who's just starting off can just jump in, you know. So that's usually how I like to start it, and then I'll roll it all the way up. Okay, so we'll try to break it down. I'll do little pieces, lots of little demonstrations and things like that. Oh, Robin says, I definitely need to learn more about Brilliance. Yes. Oh, Robin, you would so love the things that you can do in Brilliance. Yeah, definitely. Okay, awesome. Guys, I think that it's time for our snacks before we get any further, right? Let's go over and give you some warmth and sunshine, and I think we're going to go over to the food shack. Is that where we're going here?
Yep.
Mr. H says, yeah. All right, there we are. There's the food shack, guys. Don't feed the dolphins. Okay, we've got drone deliveries going out to those who are just snowed in and can't get out. And there's everything on there today. We've got all kinds of warm little goodies. How about warm cinnamon rolls are out there today. We've got cookies and croissants and all kinds of things. And I think that they were going to do some omelets this morning. So they've got that going, and we've also got some carrots and kale. But drone deliveries are on the way for those who can't get out. So go ahead and put in your orders. They'll get them out to you right away, okay? Why not? It's free, right? Okay, yeah, blueberry bagel for Faker McFake, no problem. Coming right up. Awesome. All right, so we've got our snacks, we've got our drinks, and I hope you're in your cozy spot or at least a little safe place to watch. Let's go ahead and get started because we have a few things to cover today. First off, you see my little design boards are getting a little stacked up here. That's because we've got a lot of little finished blocks down here and they're ready to go. So I was able to finish this one up, and I can tell you this one was a doozy. Of all the blocks that we've done for this particular quilt, I think this one was probably the most challenging in terms, not in terms of just stitching it, because stitching it was just straight stitching, but alignment and accuracy was really important on this block. So for those of you who are doing this along with me, take your time on this block. Be very accurate, or as accurate as you can be, and that'll save you, from taking out that little seam ripper and having to undo a couple things here and there. Okay, so this is, and I'm trying to find the end of it, it's a very long, very wide block, and this represents the fence. So I'll show it to you in pieces. So here's one piece here, and then it kind of goes to another piece, and then the other. Like it's just so huge, but this is as wide as I can show it to you here. What? Oh God, another shenanigans going on already. So this is going to represent the fence. I still do need to just kind of trim it up a little bit. I just have some trimming to do. So yeah, it's pretty wide. I mean, it is a big quilt, but yeah, this is the fence. And what made it the most challenging is making sure that all of your blocks going across are lined up and not all wonky, right? So yeah. And what really made it difficult is that you have these really long, yeah, it's wider than, it probably is taller than my height, or wider. It's wider than my arms, I can tell you that. I can't hold the whole thing up. It's just kind of too big, but it's here. And I can tell you that, it's a lot to put together. Now it's done in pieces, so it's like 3 pieces that you put together. There's a lot, the right fence, the left fence, and then the center, and then you put it all together. But the tricky part is that because you have these little posts in between here, you don't really have a guide to kind of line it up. So it makes it a little bit tricky for you to really nail that, because you could really be off just slightly on here. So that is a little bit tricky, but like I told you, I used a little pencil, made some little pencil marks on here right where I know the seam allowance is going to be. So there's probably little pencil marks back here in the seam allowance, and nobody's going to see them. And that was how I was able to kind of line them up, is just doing those little pencil marks and then lining it up to that as I go. But as I indicated yesterday, accuracy is really the key, because any mistake that you make will continue to compound along the way. And you can see just how wide this piece is, and so if you make one mistake, it will compound all the way across, and then you'll kind of have like a wonky looking fence, or at least one that won't go all the way across. So yeah, it's then that's in that way, it was a bit of a challenge, just making sure that all of the pieces were falling in just right. So yeah, so this was, you know, and you're dealing with a pretty wide piece. So it was a little bit of a challenge. I did tell you that I broke out my extension table that I have back here. I did have to break it up, and you can see how huge my extension table is for my Janome machine. And it's pretty wide, but wow, it really makes a difference. It really does, because when you're piecing and you're kind of, if you're not pinning it and you have it in your hand, by the time you bring it from your hands over to the sewing machine, it would have shifted just slightly, barely enough for you to even see. And so when that movement happens and it shifts, it's not going to land exactly where you want it. So doing it right on the table and lining things up and just being able to kind of put it onto the machine really just makes a difference. Really, really does. So I think this little extension table was really, really great for me yesterday. And it has a little opening where you can change the bobbins and stuff. So not bad at all. I really love the extension table. I did get it from Sewing Machines Plus. I'm sorry, not sewing, Sewing Parts. Sewing Parts Online is where I got it from. And they did pretty good, shipped right away. And I was really happy the way it was kind of shipped and packaged, so I was very happy with that. But they have all kinds of things on that site. I was really happy with their service. So I have an affiliate link with them. I was able to get one. So if you are in the market for buying anything for your machine, any parts, a little presser feet, anything that you need for the machine, use the little link below, because they did a great job. They really did a great job, and I was happy with that. Okay, so let's move on to what we're going to be doing today, shall we? Okay, so I already have on my board here, whoops, and I just slid all the letters. I've got on here all of my little cuts, and I probably lost the B. Here it is. All my little cuts are here. And this is for the Stash Buster block. That's the next block that's here. And guys, we only have 2 more blocks to do and we're done. Like, we've got the Stash Buster block that we're going to be doing today. And then the last one that I've been holding out for is the house. And that'll be the last block that we have to do. And then we just get to assemble the whole thing together. So pretty cool. And we've gotten through this. We do about an hour a day, right? And we've gotten through this in about a week and a half, maybe, because I mean, today's Tuesday, we'll do this block and then we're just left with the house block and the entire thing will be ready to go to be assembled. So I'm excited about that. So this has been a lot of fun, and you know, it's tackling your project just one piece at a time. You know, just don't, it's overwhelming when you looked at it. When we first started, it was kind of like, wow, this is a big quilt. But as you can see, and what I wanted to really demo with you guys is just breaking it down into little tiny pieces. It can be accomplished. Just take it step by step. Break it down into bite-sized pieces on what you can accomplish, and then go ahead and move forward with just that one project. Okay, just focus on the small piece that you're going to do. Big picture we love, but when we're trying to kind of accomplish it, try to just keep looking at the little small pieces, get them done, and that's just one accomplishment that you've done, and you can check it off that list, right? All right, awesome. Okay, so here we are for the Stash Buster block. I've got all of these fabrics that I selected, and these fabrics were from another fat quarter that I had in my stash. And some of these, let me see if I can find the little stash behind me here. If I can get some of these here. Some of these here were from a couple of different ones I think I had picked. But I think I cut the selvage off, and I must have saved it on one of them. Here it is. So this is Maywood Studio. And this was another fat quarter that was kind of laying around in my stash, and I thought it'd be great to kind of use it for that. Let's see, it just says Maywood Studio on the selvage here. Trying to see if I find a name on here. Oh, here we go. It's called Vintage Flora. Okay, and this was the fat quarter that came along with it. Now, I can tell you that for the colors that I picked on this, the block itself has a dark color in the middle here, and I really didn't have a really nice blue that I wanted to kind of use. So I ended up changing that color, and instead I'm going to be using this block right here. It's white with a bunch of different florals and different colors, but the colors will kind of coordinate with the ones that I'm using. So I'm hoping that works out just fine. Again, the background fabric is going to be the same as the other two blocks that I use, so I'll still have those, but I thought bringing in a little bit of the reds and the yellows and greens, I think all of that will play nicely together. And of course, fabric H is going to be the little clothespins. That's what that represents right there. I could not find my letter F. Not sure why. It kind of walked away. You know, you've got those gremlins that come into the room, right? And so I'm just using my pins as the placeholder just for now. All right, so I'm going to step this over to the side here. And let's make some space so we can kind of get started on this block. Overall, I just kind of glanced through it. It doesn't look too difficult on this one. Nothing that we have not seen before. So it should go and get put together pretty quickly here. Okay, so first things first, we need fabrics B and F. So we're going to go ahead and grab B and F, which is the one that I do not have labeled. If I can just grab it, there it goes. Okay. And all you're gonna do here, I'm sorry, not F, it's F. Okay, it is B, and then on one end of fabric F, we're gonna do, and you guessed it, we're gonna do a little flying geese unit there. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that together. The way you're going to do this is, and we've done this before, you're just going to take your fabric and we're going to draw that diagonal line from corner to corner on the back side of the fabric. So I'll go ahead and take my little ruler. Let me stick this book over to this end here. And I'm going to take my little ruler and just draw the line corner to corner with my little pencil. If you have a marking pen, that would work. I'm just using my pencil because that's what shows up better on the camera for you guys. So again, diagonal line on the flying geese unit. We're just going to go ahead. We're going to do right sides together. So you'll see that diagonal line sticking out right in front of you, and you're just going to lay that out right there. And then we're going to do it again on the other side. But first we're going to stitch this one down, and we're going to want to leave a little bit of space so that we can flip this over, right? So I am just going to sew right along this line on this side right here. You're always going to pick the side closest to the corner, because then that will give you enough fabric. By you just sewing alongside that line, it'll give you just enough space to flip that over, and that way your fabric will fully cover that corner right here. Okay, so you definitely want to accomplish it so that it ends up just about like that. Okay, and you want it to cover this completely. Okay, you don't want it to be this way there and coming up short. Okay. All right, so you can pin it if you'd like. If you feel comfortable pinning it, you can. Bring this over. You're going to be sewing on a diagonal, so if you do your pins, you can do it on the diagonal this way because it's going to fall into this pin. Or, you want to do it opposite from what you are sewing, right? So we would pin it this way. Now, why would I not want to pin it this way? Well, you can. It'll catch up to the little end of your pin, but if it shifts any, it's really just going to shift and the pin's just going to move. It's not really holding anything in place. You always have to go opposite of the side that you are sewing. That way, this is not going to shift this way at all because the pin is holding it down, right? So make sure that you get this pinned the correct way and then go ahead and bring it over to your sewing machine. So let's wake up Miss Molly over here because she's got some work to do. We've got to wake her up here. She was quite busy with me last night. And we got that picket fence done. A little nerve-wracking here and there, but we got her done. So wakey, wakey, Miss Molly, here we go. And it's just really nice working with that extension table. I mean, it just does a really nice difference from you know, you're fixing your stuff on the side and then you have to pick it up, and when you do, it shifts around on you again. So it's nice to be able to just kind of slide it here and there. It's a little big for when I'm filming, only because, you know, then we're ironing and we're cutting also. So I don't use it when we're filming, but definitely use that at night when I'm kind of getting stuff done. Okay, here we go. So got her all lined up here, just a little bit off so that I can sew right alongside the little diagonal line that I drew there. And so we're just going to go ahead. We're just going to sew. Here we go. We've got our nice line sewn right alongside our drawn line there. Okay. Then you can remove your pins and we can go ahead and flip it over and finger press that down. Okay. You can bring it over to your iron if you have it. In fact, I think mine's is pretty hot right now as I had her on earlier. So I'll go ahead and give her a little press. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So there it is. We've got one side done. And we definitely want to do the same thing on the other side. But let me just double check here. They want you to go ahead and trim that back piece, but we'll do that after. And then let's just repeat this on the opposite end here. So it was fabric B is what you're going to need here. Make sure you are looking at the back side of the fabric. So this is white on white, so it's a little bit hard for me to find it, but let's just see here. Yeah, that's the right side. This is the wrong side, and I'll give it a quick little press. Look, it got a little wrinkled there. That's better. Okay. Don't you love the heat of the iron when you're taking it off? I just love it. All right, one more time. Diagonal line, corner to corner is what we're doing here. And we're going to have our nice flying geese unit. There we go. Nice and dark so you guys can see it. Then we'll just line this up here. Put a little X on the corner because that's the side that we're going to be kind of sewing along. And if you want to pin that, you'll want to do opposite from the side that you are sewing on. So right there, okay? Now we can just drag her over. Make sure she didn't move on you. Because even though you have it pinned, she can still move, right? She can still tilt. So you want to make sure that you get her in the right place there. Okay, let's start her off right here. Go ahead and line her up. And we'll go ahead and sew. Okay, there we are, right alongside that line. Let me just remove that pin. And once again, finger press. Make sure she's covered up that side. And then we'll give her a little press here on the side here as well. There, let me try to bring that over. Okay. Let the heat of the iron do its thing there. Okay, give it a little press there. Here we go. Okay, nice little unit there. And we're going to repeat that and make 4 of these. That's what you're going to need. And then we're also going to need to trim the back of these here. So just kind of flip this over. We'll do this side first. I'm going to grab my ruler and I'm going to line up my ruler about 1/4 inch from my seam line. You can do it from the line that you drew. I like to do it from the seam line. And grab that little rotary cutter and just cut that piece off. Great little scrap for a little extra project there, right? Then I'll fold that back down and then I'll flip it over. Now this other side's going to be a little harder because we did sew down that tip, and that's okay because it doesn't need to be exact. So I'm totally fine with doing that. So I just kind of maneuver it a little bit here as long as I get it at about 1/4 inch. No one is going to see this, so I am totally fine with that. And then I'll go ahead and just cut right there. There we go. And then just kind of fold it back down. If you want, you can press it again just to make sure that it stays down and it's nice and flat. Okay. And that is how quick and easy you can make your little flying geese unit. Let's bring it over to the desk cam so you can see a closer look. I know it gets some glare sometimes, but there you go. Nice and easy, nice and clean. Now, again, it's not going to be pointed all the way to the top. That's one thing that beginners tend to think, oh, I did something wrong because my point right here is not all the way up on the top. You don't want it to be on the top because you need to account for that 1/4 inch seam that you're going to use up when you now attach this piece to another flying geese unit or whatever other block it is that you're doing. So you want to have that 1/4 inch gap between the edge of your fabric and the point that you're going to have there. Okay, so that's something that you have to be weary of there. But that is your flying geese unit. Again, you're going to make 4 of these, and we're going to square these off because the measurements here are 3.5 by 6.5 when you are done. So definitely make sure that once you're done all 4 of these, trim them down to that measurement so that you have the measurement that you need for that. Okay. Once you do that, we're going to be attaching a couple more, but another one that you'll have to do for this block is just like a little 4 patch. And I'm going to skip over doing 3 more of these. I'll come back to these if we have time, but we've already done 1 of them. So let's kind of move over to the next step, which is doing a little 4 patch. And I think that's going to be really easy to do for us. So we're going to grab fabric C and fabric A. Okay, so we're going to have C and we're going to have A. Orientation, super important, so make sure that you are checking the book. And then you're going to want to grab fabric A again, and this time you want to grab fabric D. and you want to line these up. So this is what the 4-patch unit is going to look like with the colors that I selected. I think these two work really nicely together. A little bit of yellow, a little bit of green. So I like that little combination. And so now it's just right size together and you're just making a 4-patch. So super easy to do, right? Now this one looks a little wrinkly on me here. Not sure what happened. I'm going to spray it again with a little bit more starch and see if I can get her to come back for me. So let me just scoop this over a little bit here. Now I like to use Best Press, and I'm just going to spray it off to the side here because I don't want everything else to kind of get wet. So just spray it a little bit just because that wrinkles just are not working for me. So we'll let that dry just a tad. Remember, don't spray it and then hit it with the iron right away. Give it a chance for the starch to kind of work into your fabric. And I just did a tiny little sprinkle because these are already starched, but I want to be able to let the starch kind of get soaked into the fabric. So you want to give it time to kind of get in there before you just hit it with that iron. Okay, otherwise you're not really doing much if you're just spraying and hitting with the iron right away. So you definitely want to do that. And this one just looked a little bit too wrinkly, so maybe this one got missed. I'm not sure. So we just want to double check on that. And it's pretty dry, so I'm going to go ahead, hit it with the iron. I think it's just because since when this fabric came off of the bolt, it was kind of crunched in one side. It wasn't kind of laid out on the bolt correctly, and so a lot of wrinkles, a lot of wrinkles on there. So I'll just press these just because I'm already here, so I might as well give it just another press. Might as well, right? And I'm checking to make sure this is the right side. Okay. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, I just wanted to make sure that that was pressed. You always want to start off with some flat fabrics. Don't take it out of the bolt and just start sewing without pressing it, because those wrinkles will make a difference in your seam. So make sure that you're doing that correctly. Okay, so we're going to line up the A square with the C square, and then we're lining up the D square with the A square. I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam going over here. So let me just line this up here. And it's just a straight seam. So just line her up with your foot. And then just make sure that you are covering your sides and go ahead. Make sure you're supporting your fabric on both ends so you have that nice 1/4 inch seam that comes out, okay? And then do the same with the other fabric. Make sure you've got your right sides together. And can't seem to get her to go. Here we go. Making sure my sides are good. And laying her flat. Okay. Here we go. Underneath the foot. Hand position. Elbows up, right? That always helps. Whoops. I did kind of give it a pull on the end. See what happens when you do the little pull? Let me see if you guys can see that. See, the very, very end, I gave it a little bit of a tug, and it's got that tiny piece that it is off by. It's just off by like a hair. I can just jump right back in here and redo that ends. Okay. Just a couple of stitches, and let me see if you can see that difference. Not too much of a difference, but you can see that double seam here because I did pull out just a little bit early. Bad habit that I have of pulling the fabric out before it is complete, and it turns that into that little bend there. Drives me bananas. But all you have to do is jump back in and sew right through there, you know, and then you'll be straight and you'll be back in business. But yeah, be careful with that because sometimes you're kind of rushing and you kind of pull, on it a little bit before it's had a chance to stitch it, and you'll end up with that little bit of a curve in the end, and you don't want to have that. All right, let's bring our ironing board right back here, and I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I'm checking the book, and my seams is of course telling me to put the seams in the darker fabric. So that'll be under fabric C, and then I'm going to go ahead and press that seam down. If you got your clapper, you can pull out the clapper, but I think it's just fine. And then I will do the same thing on the other one. Open it up, move that to the darker side here. Most of the heat right on that seam, and then I just pull it out. So I always start in the center and I move my way out, okay? And then of course we're just going to line her up here, and this is what we want to sew, and we want to get this just right so we get a really neat little corner right there. So that's now what we have to line up to sew, and of course for that, we're just going to do right sides together. You're going to bump up the seams. Your seams should be opposite, and you're going to use your pin and just pin it diagonally so it stays in shape. So go ahead, play with the little seam allowances, get them to bump up against each other, and then grab your pin, go down into one side and out through the other on a diagonal. That way she won't move on you. Okay, and then just double check that she's exactly where you want her to be. So here's your pin. Let's go over to dust cam and I can show you. Just pinning on that diagonal. Let's see if it's focusing a little bit here. There you go. Yeah, down one end, out the other on a diagonal. That'll hold it right in place, okay? And then now we're going to take this over to Miss Molly, and we're going to see if we can sew her in place. Now I'm checking my ends as well, making sure that they're lined up, and I didn't move those around. So make sure that your ends are lined up. And then go ahead and line her up here. Now, as I get closer, I'm going to support the seam with my finger because I'm going to need to move that pin out of the way. So we can slide her out and then just hold her down with your fingers. And now I'm just going to check the other side, make sure I'm lined up here. Make sure it's nice and flat, and support the other end as well. Okay. All right, let's see how we did with that. Perfect. Looks great. Love it. That's how you get the points. All right, let's grab our little ironing board. And I'm checking, it tells you to do the seam allowance is going down. So we'll go ahead and finger press that and then grab my iron. And I'll be ironing that down here. So simple little 4-patch. You can definitely make a ton of quilts just doing a 4 patches. You can just do quilts with just a whole bunch of 4 patches and do some sashing around it, or you can bring it all the way down with maybe someone's favorite colors, right? Yeah, pretty fabrics. They are very cute, and I think, you know, this will be really nice if you are just starting off and you wanted to kind of just do a quilt that's not really complicated. You can just start off with this. This will really help. As long as you can make your points here, you can just do a whole stack of these and do some sashing in between, and you got yourself a quilt right there. You can also add your flying geese units to it, which is what we're going to be doing in a few. But this is definitely some easy, really easy quilts that you can make. Let's bring this over to the dust cam so you guys can see the final look here. There you go. And so, yeah, I love the colors. I love, the fabrics are very pretty. I was a little worried that I wasn't going to have enough, but it turns out it was just perfect. So it works well, and I hope it's going to work well with the other big blocks that we've made. So I think the colors, you know, keeping them really light is really going to be key for that. Okay, so you're going to make 4 of these as well. So you need 4 flying geese units and 4 of the 4-patch units, and then it's just assembling the block together. It's that easy. That's how easy this block is, and you can use all of your scrappy fabric to just kind of play around with the colors and do all kinds of different designs. Now, if you wanted to add a little bit of a bling, you're going to have a center fabric that you're going to be selecting that's going to be right in the middle. So you may want to fussy cut something. You may want to have something that has a little special message on there. You can always do that. This will be really cute, and they have a lot of space to do that here. So that particular square is about 6.5 inches, so it's a pretty large square. So if you're going to do something to customize this quilt on this particular block, now's the time to do it on that square, because you have tons of room there to do it with. So lots and lots of things that you can do to kind of customize this for the person that you're making this for. So don't be afraid to do that. Bring it over to your embroidery machine. You can put a name on there, a little message, anything that you'd like. It would be really neat. Now, you can pick a plain fabric, and that'll make your embroidery stand out, but be careful with picking fabrics that are busy, because if you then decide to customize it and do some embroidery work, depending what it is, whether it be a design or if you're just doing some fonts, it can kind of get lost in that block, right? So this is going to be my center block. So my center block is quite busy, so I'm not going to put any embroidery on here. But if I were to have selected, let's say, I could have done something like this. Let's say I picked the red as my center block. Although this does have a design on it, if I had some kind of embroidery or a font on here, it would really stand out, because it is kind of not so busy in terms of different colors popping out here. It's all pretty much one color here, and it'll help the embroidery or the design really pop, so you can really show on the block here. So if you are customizing this, just be wary of that when you're making your fabric selections. You want to make sure that you're using a fabric that's going to allow your particular design to pop out and not kind of be swallowed into the design of the fabric. So make sure that you do that when you're picking your fabrics. Okay. Let's see here. Just really any questions? Oh, beautiful little ironing board. So cute. Well, thank you, Annette. Yeah, I recovered this with just some simple fabric that I had on the stash here. And I just covered it up and did a little bit of elastic all around the end here. And then just kind of, you know, made the little casing. So really easy.
Cindy says.
May I suggest an embroidered doghouse? Yeah, Cindy, maybe you think we need to add Mr. H's name on there, make a little doghouse. That would be kind of cute, huh? Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he was taking it a little too much yesterday, but I think he calmed down a little today. At least I'll find out later when I read the chat. All right. So, yeah, so, excuse me, guys. Let me just grab a sip of water here. I'm getting a little tickle. Little tickle on my throat. So, yeah, I'm going to just complete the rest of this. Again, I'll need to do 4 of these and 4 of these, and then it's just assembling it together. And this block comes together super quick. So, very, very easy to do. Lots of scrap fabric that you can use, and lots of customization ideas that we've thrown around out as well. So you can do that. But I want to talk a little bit about rickrack, because for this particular quilt, there are some places where they are using some rickrack on here. So if you go over to the page that kind of shows the layout here, there is a little bit of rickrack that's being used on the top of the house here, as well as on the clothesline going across this way. So you'll want to pick out some rickrack that's going to offset the fabric that you selected. So right now on that bottom clothes rack, it looks like it's offsetting against the background fabric. So for us, our background fabric is kind of like, let me see if I have a bigger one, a bigger piece to show you. I guess this would be big enough here. This is kind of our background fabric that we've been using. So I'm probably going to get some white rickrack, and that's what I'm going to use to go all the way across here. But make sure that whatever background fabric you selected, make sure that rickrack is offsetting it so it will show. Otherwise, it's just going to be swallowed in here and no one's really going to see it. So you want to be able to pick that out. But they're using rickrack, and there's tons of other things that you can do on here. You know, they've got some rickrack coming out here on top of the house by the chimneys, so that's really neat. But you can use other things here that you can put, you know, on the little flowers. You can put little buttons on that center point if you'd like. You can add all kinds of little embellishments to really make this quilt come alive a little bit. Give it a little bit of dimension as well, so that it's not just one flat quilt. So think about all of the little items that you have, little ruffles, little anything that you have that you can add to the quilt that really makes it your own. Customize it and just kind of give it a little bit of extra something on there, right? Who doesn't like buttons, right? You can definitely put buttons on here and all kinds of good things. You've got a little heart that's on the door, but I could see maybe putting some letters in here or something, a little message or something on the door that you can do. You won't have too much space, but you can maybe put an initial or something on here. That will be really cute. Some people said, oh, you can put a little welcome mat here and just add that on the bottom here and just, you know, kind of stitch that on top. Give it that little bit of a dimension, maybe like a little patch that you can kind of iron on, gives it that little bit of something coming out. But that's something that you would just kind of put on top, so you can do that as well. So lots and lots of different ideas that you can do with this. Just kind of make it your own and just see what you have on your stash and what you can add in there. It'll be a lot of fun. All right. So guys, we are running out of time, and I think that we have covered everything that we wanted to do here. So what we'll need to do now is I will need to start cutting up. Well, I've already kind of started cutting up the pieces for the little house, because that's really the only block we have left to do. And that one has quite a few cutting pieces on there. Let me see if I can find that page on the house. Here it is. So lots of cutting to do here and here. I'm already started and will continue to do that tonight as well. So I've got my little stash going on here. I do need to select my fabrics, but we're going to be tackling the house next, and that's going to be the last block we're going to need to do for this quilt. So I will show you my little stash block right here, right? We'll do that one tomorrow. I'll show you that, and then we'll continue on and look at the fabrics that we're going to pick for the house. So lots and lots of fun, lots of good stuff. We're definitely going to be finishing this up this week and then jumping right into the next project. So we definitely made it. We're towards that end. We see the little light. So definitely is really, really nice. Okay. So before everyone freezes out there, I hope you guys are staying nice and warm, and then this little quilt will be able to keep you toasty by the fire. All right, guys, thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate all of your support. Mr. H, I guess he was a good little boy today, right? Very good. All right. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for all your support. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter-free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friends, till we craft once again. Bye now, stay crafting. See you tomorrow. So long, my friends, till we craft once again.